Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Good morning. I don't know what that was. I'm feeling silly. And I don't care because you can do that when it's your show. I am so happy. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. It's Tuesday, everybody. The first day of February. And then Febrero. I had to go back and start. I can never say the months of the year in Spanish unless I start at the beginning. Anyway, Febrero. Happy February 1st. Is this Black History? No. Is it? I get so confused. I think it is. Isn't it Black History Month? Right. I get it confused with Juneteenth. And I'm black. Lord have mercy. Shaking my head. You know, there's just so many things to keep up with nowadays. I don't know if it's getting more crowded or are the lanes up here lessening, if you know what I mean. Right? I'm 59. I don't claim anything but joy down in my heart. That's how I feel about it. So listen, you guys, what a wonderful day. What a wonderful way to start this new month. Now, accountability, checkpoint. You know, it's just a few more days, and the statistics say 90-some% of you all, because I don't include myself in there, right? Because I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe in everyday manifestation. Okay, so, but in case you have resolutions, you better do something. Pull the trigger, let go of the intention, send it. Don't just set it, but send the intention, because you're hitting that line, that demarcation line where they say most people fall off the bandwagon as far as what they say. They're covenants. Let's just keep it real. Those things are really little mini contracts that we make with ourselves and with what is greater than us. So I just want to remind you, get on track and stay on track. This is the year of abundance like never before. I claim it. I feel it. Do you feel it? If you feel it, tell me about it. Put it in the comments and say, I feel it. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Yes. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place to be right now, which is right where we're at. Why? Because one of the greatest promises known to man, in my opinion, is being fulfilled as we speak. It's the one that says that where two or more of us with the same mindset, same heart set, same soul set come together, something wonderful is going to happen. Can I get a name? There we go. Listen, yesterday they came. We made history and you helped me do it. That is why I just love what we do together. We made history together yesterday, being the first person that we could find that's on the front and the back of the same magazine at the same time. And I just, I just want to say it. Because of you all, every single day, not just Monday through Friday, but every single day, I start my day with a beautiful human experience. I'm going to let that hang out there for a second because it is just the most wonderful thing ever. It's a beautiful human experience when we come together and we share our truths. We sit there and we create and hold space that is safe, that is non-judgmental, and a place where we can say, you know what, we're more alike than we are different. And it just changes everything. So I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my spirit. Seriously, because of you and my commitment to you, I get up every day, and that's what this is all about right here. Look at everything that you have an opportunity to do. Look at it and honor it from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. Because when we do that, we allow whatever it is we ascribe to. We give it permission to walk before us, to stand beside us, and most importantly, to cover the rear. Because as humans, there'll always be something we won't see coming. So there you have it. Welcome to today's show. Our guest today is, she's just a whole mixed bag of tricks. I'm telling you, everything from having grown up in the entertainment industry out in California, now living in Denver, Colorado, creating documentaries and movies, also been in the space industry. So she's just, she's all that and a bag of chips. Who is she? Well, she is, are you ready? Darla. And you know what? I love her name because I wonder if that's a stage name because it kind of sounds like a cake, like Sarah Lee, Darla Rae. I love that Darla Rae pound cake, right? So anyway, I'm just saying, Darla Rae. Let me tell you what's going on. Let's talk about the movie. First of all, this is from a director's statement, which I pulled. Says, Courageous Warriors, that's the name of the movie, Beauty from the Ashes. This is Darla's first feature documentary, which evolved from working on a short film about women who fit other women for mastectomy bras. Now, there's not something you hear every day, but kind of. When where was I? I was getting some procedure, some kind of one of those tests they give you every year, when you're this age. It's like, I don't know. Let's see if your toenails are fungi. I don't know, but they were doing something. But the girl, I know, over Christmas when I had that cellulitis thing, remember New Year's, got bit on the photo shoot. Well, anyway, she, the one who did the ultrasound, the lady who did the ultrasound, I guess that's an ultrasound technician. She also does, tattoo artist. She does tattoos on of nipples and areolas for women who so I was like, her story, I was like, wow, really great. So I love this already. And so here's what else she has to say. While meeting these incredible women and men, it led us on an extraordinary journey interviewing over 100 women and men who have battled or are currently battling breast cancer. So this film has been a labor of love. It took over 3 years and 3 years worth of Courageous Warriors, like its title song, Girls Like Me. How'd you know? Is an anthem and a blueprint to encourage and help others to navigate this surmountable battle, which leaves so many casualties behind in its wake of devastation. So that's all I'm going to say about that because, I'm like Jenny from the block. I'd rather show you than tell you. So she's a first timer, and what we do, we put our hearts, first of all, into this illuminated conversation, which means comments, questions, all invited. Now's a great time to bless someone. Let me tell you, drop it off the way you'd like to pick it up. What you put in the front end is going to come out the back end. So in other words, if you are looking for a blessing, start by being the blessing. Broadcast out now. How's that? Share it out now. It's free. Hit a button, send it to 2 or 3 people, and manifest something. Let me tell you all, people, let's listen up real close. All you have to do to be blessed immensely every single day of your journey is this. Get up every day, look for something to give the world that they've never seen. And you know what that means? That means you have to get up every day and be willing to do something you've never done. So right now, you've never sent this show out because it's never been here. So there you can do it and check off both of those criteria right now. Won't you do it? Find your blessing. Have it sent in by sending one out. Can I get an amen? So there we go. So put your hearts on the screen as well as we welcome our guest today for this illuminated conversation. Here she comes, Miss Darla Rae. Sounds good when you say it with a little southern twang. Hello, Darla Rae. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Good morning.
Good. I'm awesome. I was trying to see if I wanted to keep trying to rhyme, but way and day, that's all I can handle. I'm ready for a beautiful human experience today through this conversation. How about you?
Absolutely. And yes, the Darla Rae, it sounds like a Southern thing.
It really does.
It's Darla Rae. My middle name is Rae, so I've just used that as my stage name.
Well, you know, there's a couple shows I know on Ozark. There's a Darla, and whenever they have it in a show, they always and Queen Sugar. His what's his name? Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel's wife is named Darla.
Yes, so my mother got the name from the Little Rascals.
Oh, I loved her. The live bug will get you if you don't watch out. The live bug will get you if you scream and shout. You go, remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love the Little Rascals. Now I love you even more. So tell everybody, where are you right now? And then just get into a little bit, give us a little intro into little Darla.
Sure. So I currently live in Denver, Colorado. And I grew up in Los Angeles, in Azusa, California, a suburb of Los Angeles, and was fascinated by movies. And the first time I saw The Sound of Music was the first movie that I'd gone to a walk-in with my grandmother and my mother. And that opening scene with Julie Andrews, that's when I decided I wanted to make movies or be in movies. I wasn't sure, but back then, you know, girls couldn't be the director, producer. You had to be an actor. So I never thought about it, you know, other than acting. So I was an actor. I did a lot of stage, but I did not work in film until I was 18, and I was an extra on Halloween. John Carpenter. Yeah. So I'm in Halloween, the original.
Did you get killed?
No, I was one of the students. I'm in the classroom with Jamie before when the audience first sees Michael Myers out the window.
Now,
so
when you were cast in that role and you were showing up and all of that, did you guys really? Did anybody have a feeling this was going to be what it turned out to be?
No, because it was just, you know, I had worked on this other film. I actually went to watch this film being shot. I told my mother, I came home from school and I said, hey, I saw in the little newspaper that they're shooting a film in the town next door. I said, a couple of us girls are going to go check it out. Well, that was back before cell phones and pagers and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So this guy approached me and he said, hey, can you drive a car? Yes. Can you drive a stick shift? Yes. Can you drive a stick shift on the column? And I said, yes. And he said,
you can?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's how I learned.
Wow. Okay.
My uncle made me drive his car on the column.
Yeah. That's
so he said, do you all want to be in a movie? And I thought, sure, whatever. And he goes, no, come back tomorrow. You know, same time tomorrow. Wear blue jeans. Get one of your dad's shirts. Roll up the sleeves. It's called Hometown USA, and it was sort of a knockoff on American Graffiti.
Okay.
And was Max Baer, who played Jethro on Beverly Hillbillies.
I know Max Baer, yes.
He was the director.
No.
Yes.
Was he as big in person as he looked?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. really nice guy. And so the guy that approached us, he was the casting director for Extras. So we drove cars all night, old 50s cars up and down, you know.
You know what's funny? Now,
It was a lot of fun.
all I have to do now is meet somebody who knew Mrs. Drysdale or Mr. Drysdale or Miss Jane, because I met Buddy Epson on Rodeo Drive at Martin Kinnon Studios in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
He had the oxygen thing and everything. So he's real. And I went to a Bible study one time, didn't know where I was going. They said Donna, but when I got there, I guess who
it was
Donna,
yeah.
Donna Dixon. And I was in Phoenix then. And she had a Bible study at her.
Donna Douglas, right?
And here's the part. I'm not kidding you. She actually opened the door and she was dressed just like Ellie Mae. She had
it didn't surprise me.
She's still dressed like Ellie Mae. The shirt tied, the jeans rolled up, and the rope belt. All of it, the hair, everything else.
That's a hoot, right?
You know how Ellie is. You might back in the day you could run into.
I've ran into everybody. I mean Charo, and I mean I was 13 in Baja California in San Felipe, and we were camping in the campground on the beach, and we woke up the next morning after we got there, and there were all these movie vehicles there, and Richard Burton was making a movie, and Elizabeth Taylor, these guys that were in the campground said, "Hey, you want to go to this beach party?" Well, I was only 13. My mother said, yeah, she can go with her chaperone. And
which is her.
Right. So we went to this beach party and bonfire that night. And here comes Elizabeth Taylor.
Really?
Elizabeth Taylor. I was so I was like.
Did you get close enough to look into her eyes?
Oh, yeah. She came up to me and she said, "Hello, good evening." And I was like, oh, my God.
What was, did her eyes really look violet?
Oh, yeah. She was stunning. I mean, it was very stereotypical, like what you would imagine, this very flowing chiffon outfit, and you're on the beach and the bonfire, and it was spectacular. I think she kind of stole his thunder. He was there, but everybody was looking at her.
Of course. I'd have probably still been there because I'd have probably just died in my tracks. I'm not kidding. Elizabeth Taylor, are you kidding? What gay guy didn't want to meet Elizabeth Taylor?
Yeah.
Right?
I hear you.
So you grew up doing all this stuff. Tell us about the first time you got the opportunity to be behind the camera.
Oh, well, so that was in 2005. My pastor's son was training for the Olympics as a cyclist in Houston, and there had been a storm, and he came around this hairpin curve on his bike, and a tree had fallen, and so it launched him down this ravine headfirst into a tree, and he broke his neck.
Oh.
And so a few months went by, and he announced he was going to play wheelchair rugby. We thought he was all crazy. So a bunch of the women from the church went, and we provided all the food for all these wheelchair athletes.
Okay.
So I met all these incredible athletes and their families, and I kept saying, somebody needs to tell this story. So I wrote the screenplay, and I knew nothing about writing a screenplay. I didn't even have the right software.
Oh, wow.
But I made that film. That was the first one. And
how did you do? So let me ask you this. Let me ask
great.
you this first. Did you have to come? I always hear that the hardest part, unless you're some big Paramount person or MGM, it's the money.
Absolutely. It's always about the money. But
finding the money. But
my sister I carried that story for 12 years in my head before I wrote it. And my sister said, tell me why you're not making that movie. And I said, I don't have any money. She goes, well, you're going to get $50,000 that you weren't expecting. You could use that. And I said, I don't know if I can make a movie for that. So I started meeting with people that were cinematographers and gaffers and all that. So we put together a team, and we made the movie for $50,000, and it went all around the world. It won a lot of awards. It was sanctioned by the U.S. Olympic Committee in Milan.
Wow.
So,
how'd she know you were going to come into $50,000?
Well, because I had worked for a company and didn't even realize that I had matching funds in a 401k, and so I used that money to make the first film.
See, how does that make y'all feel when somebody goes, I didn't even know. I don't care if there's a quarter upstairs in the junk drawer and that junk drawer is so full you can't even pull it out. I know it's there. I'm telling you, oh my goodness, that must be a wonderful position to be in.
It was shocking.
And so you took every penny of it.
Yep.
Talk about that if you could, about the level of commitment it takes, because you're looking through not just the viewfinder of a camera, but you're also kind of having to look through that in your world to see the outcome. I mean, how do you know? I mean, that seems like such a risky thing. Look at all the things that have to go right.
Right. And, if you look at the movie now, you watch it, and the movie's out there. It's called The Goal. And originally, Patty Duke was going to do the film for us, play the mother, but she got injured on stage doing Oklahoma, I think it was, and tore her rotator cuff.
Oh, Oklahoma, when the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
I did that show in high school.
11th grade. Who were you in it?
Oh, I was one of the farmers' wives, singing.
Oh, guess who I was?
I have no idea.
I loved my role. I was Mary and Sam.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
I know. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I mean, we had no famous people. There were a lot of people here in Colorado, great actors, stage actors, people trying to do film. And so we just cast it, and we made sure that we used the actual wheelchair athletes from Denver, Colorado, the Denver Harlequins.
Okay.
And and then some of the other guys came in from out of state, from Houston, from one of the other teams. So we actually use wheelchair athletes in the film, with the exception of the lead actor from here. So it was just, there were some miraculous things that happened on that set. We went to Craig Hospital, which is world renowned for traumatic brain injuries and spinal cord injuries. And I said, this is what we want to do. And they said, can we read the script? I said, sure. So they said, okay. They actually opened up their hospital facility and gave it to us on the weekends. Like we had carte blanche. So we shot it there, and they did all kinds of things. They said, I said, I really need life flight helicopter. And they said, oh, here, go talk to these people. Tell them we said it's okay. So life flight helicopter flew for us. And I mean, God just opened the door.
George just opened up. So Darla, what's the difference? What's the difference between something being called a documentary versus a film? Because it would seem like the thing with the real athletes and the wheelchairs and stuff would border on the mindset or the look of a documentary. But you said
there was a documentary about wheelchair rugby that came out just about the same time my film came out. It's called Murder Ball, because the game was originally called Murder Ball when it came from Canada into the United States. But Murder Ball doesn't play well with the the people that are writing the checks to support the athletes. So I made a narrative feature film with actors. And so really that's the difference. I mean, narrative is you got actors, and the documentary, you got the real people.
Okay, actors are speaking lines. We're in a documentary. Right. It's just
they're raw people telling their stories.
Got it. Okay. We're gonna go to our little commercial break, which usually is at the straight up and down bottom of the hour, but we're gonna go a little early because when we come back, I'm just anxious to get into this movie and to the story of the people who made this documentary, what it is today. Now, I'll tell you this, I had to scrub it, which means, I had to move it forward. The clip we're going to see, because there were so many awards. I was like, the show will be over by the time all these awards fly across the screen. So that's just to give you a little teaser, everybody, about what you can expect when we return. And so one thing I want to tell you as we go to commercial, mark your calendars, everybody. April 28th, it's happening yet again here in the beautiful city of Chicago. Down at the Stan Mansion, we'll be bringing in, again, 250 of Chicago's most wonderful resources, our kids. They're coming from the hardest hit areas of our city, and they're coming to be celebrated. By who? By you and me and everyone. Head over to powerofwesymposium.com and take a look at what we've done. We got an award from the United Nations for our work in Atlanta right before COVID. So we're so looking forward to getting back to it and celebrating these deserving ambassadors that pretty much 100% are the future. When we come back, that and the movie, Beauty to Ashes. Don't go away. Share this broadcast out. We'll be right back.
The power of we was a way of inclusion, a way of inviting anyone who needed or wanted a place to belong.
It was just very clear to me that this was something that would really benefit the young folks right here.
And to be able to give them a different perspective, that I know where they come from, I know what they're experiencing because I was there too, and letting them know that there's different actions that they can take that'll lead to a different destiny.
We really needed to hear that. In order to change our community, we needed to hear that.
And they are inspired to invest in making it happen. That's powerful.
Now, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. You know, V8 sends me the drinks, right? Or I get the voucher to go get them for every 30 days. And I find myself, I love them so much. I drink them more than I get enough for 7 days a week. So I don't have to, you know, I don't have the show on the weekends. But clearly I've drank too many because, oh, today's the 1st. The new ones didn't come yet. That's why I don't have one. Okay, see, I can't get in trouble. So I have this ready. There it is. V8, everybody. One of the best choices I ever made. I got rid of Diet Coke, Monster drinks, and all that kind of stuff, the sugar. Why? Because this is so much better. As you see on the can there, 60 calories, 2 full servings of vegetables, and 100% pure vegetable juice from concentrate. The best part for me is that it's easy peasy to find. Head down the juice aisle in your local grocer. In my store, they're right next to the Kool-Aid boxes. So get a V8. Don't pop the top unless you mean it, okay? So here she comes. She's back, Darla Rae. Set up the clip we're about to see, if you could.
Sure. So basically, you know, this whole movie is about extraordinary men and women who, during their battle with breast cancer, whether they were the person being diagnosed or the caregivers, they basically found their way to create programs to help others. And so this is our trailer.
Wow. You guys, get ready. Courageous Warriors, Beauty from Ashes. And it took 41 seconds to get through all of the awards. Hey, Darla, how many awards have you guys won?
We've won 15 awards so far.
15 awards so far. Well, there you go. Without further ado, take a look.
Courageous Warriors, Beauty from the Ashes takes us on a journey with extraordinary women who are inspiring, thought-provoking, and, at times, brutally honest.
I fall down, scrape a knee, let out tears, not because I'm weak. Hold deep the pain, so I can breathe. Get back up and be a girl like me.
Losing your breasts, you go through a grieving process. It's a loss, like any other loss in your life, whether it's a family member or child or animal or whatever. And I have this theory that all of that grief lives someplace within us.
From the moment they got diagnosed, they got squeezed through a tunnel and shot out on the other side, and they have no idea how they even got there.
I had this moment of blinding rage.
Make sure that you're doing what I hope would be the right thing for my wife. And it paid off. In fact, they used to say to me the first time out, you've done your homework. You're asking questions people won't ask. Maybe they should start.
I was in the hospital for a mastectomy, and nobody I can't do this now.
Like I say, that it's, because to me, that's a person, that's a man who has no honor.
But I know from studies that we can help. This is a diagnosis that is curable.
They'll deep the pain.
Wow.
So we could breathe. We lit a fire for girls like me. There's no surrender for girls like me. We fight for girls like me.
Wow. So I heard some stuff in there that I didn't expect to hear. That you know why I called him a couple things, you guys. The one when the girl said, my boyfriend left me. You know, and Darla, tell us how this all came to be. I mean, it's not like Susan G. Komen and
right.
As you look, you see so many things. Some people think, here's the thing that I love about this the most is that just from that, we need these sort of things to keep snapping us back into reality, like over here, because if not, you become insensitive or desensitized.
That's true.
You think we've always known about breast cancer, this and the other.
Right.
So what would you say people are going to see or learn from this documentary?
This is a completely different point of view. This is not, this is a positive. This is not your mom. First of all, my mother passed away from breast cancer at the age of 60. I started making this movie when I was 60. And I ended up being my mother's caregiver for a while, and then my best friend's caregiver, both at the end of their lives. And I carried around anger and I was just pissed off, and I never knew why. And so when I started doing this other film about the ladies that fit others with mastectomy bras, I would have lunch with them, and they kept saying, "No, we're not your story. We're not your story. You need to meet these incredible men and women." And I said, "Well, let's talk about that." So we started talking about it, and they would introduce me to one person, and then I'd talk to them and interview them, and then it just became this massive project. And I realized that everybody it's like, oh, it's just breast cancer. Well, yeah, until that bomb goes off in your life, it can be just breast cancer. That's a sad statement. And so we took an approach with the film that causes people to look at it from a different point of view. But also, you could remove breast cancer out of the story and people will still find value in it. They learn about how they go about advocating and what kind of things are available for them, whether it's breast cancer or not. And so it's very emotional when even watching the clips for me because these individuals are such empowering men and women, and they just put it all out on the line. And you spoke earlier about the person that you had met that did the tattoos.
Yeah,
we have that in the film with an organization called Personal Inc. And they have a day every October that people can get those tattoos for free. These artists come from around the world and they set up shop and they pick their women and they look at the artwork they want to cover their scars or if they want to have nipples created. And so this is like everybody keeps telling me that, no, this is a different kind of story. And so
do you want to know what this girl's business is called?
What?
I'm trying to get her on the show. I'm waiting for her to call me back. I think it's so clever. Tit for tat.
That's interesting. I like
right?
That. Yeah.
Right. I love it. And she donates her time.
Yep, they all do.
She donates her time.
We have an artist in the film. They call her Gentle Jen. And she's so emotional when she talks about the experience. She said, if I could just do that every single day for women that need that tattoo, she said, I'm perfectly fulfilled. I don't need anything else.
So, Darla, let me ask you something. You know, because I remember my Aunt Candy. Well, that was her nickname, Minnie. Back, it was like 74, 70, no, probably before my grandma died. So 72, when she had, excuse me, a double mastectomy. And I remember when she came back afterwards to our house in Michigan, and she had these bean bags. Because we had a game called Toss Across.
Sure.
And I remember going, and she left one of the bean bags on the counter, and I went and got my Toss Across. And I was like, I wonder if I swapped these out, if she would even notice, you know? And because it seemed like the same thing. It was, and we've come so far.
Oh, absolutely.
And she used to have to zip them inside of a bra.
Right. And that's those mastectomy bras that we were talking about earlier.
So
and
all those years ago, they had them. So how are they now?
Well, you know, they've come a long way, because I remember someone that I knew years ago back in the 70s, and I thought, gosh, that's horrific. The way they look.
It was like a reverse backpack.
Yeah, they just were not comfortable. And now it's, you know, because a lot of people choose not to have reconstruction too. And that's what the tattoos are about. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, do the breasts really define a person?
Well, do they?
You know, I mean, think about it. That's how our film starts out, because society has been so enamored with breasts since the beginning of time. You know, what we talk about, whether nursing mothers, sexual beings, or subject of art. And so obviously that sets the tone, and we all think, you know, that everything that we're about is what's on the outside. But the beautiful thing in our film, these women say, no, that doesn't define me. And, you know, so, but I remember when we were shooting the other short film, and people that buy a ticket to see this film will actually, as a thank you, get the link to see this other film.
Oh, nice.
So they'll get to see the point of view from the mastectomy, being fit for that bra, what that looks like. But so when we were looking at them, we were doing the same thing. You know, we were kind of playing with them back in the storage room. I'm like, wow, these things have come a long way. You know, they look real. They like fit in properly in these bras, and they don't hurt. They don't bother the person's skin, because they really feel real.
Can I ask something? I've never seen anyone address or talk. I'm sure it's out there, but I just haven't seen it. Are there? I'm sure there are. I don't even know I'm asking this. But women who have had augmentations, and then, you know, do they do the exams too? You know what I mean? Like around, because they have that whatever in there, implant. And how hard is it? Or is it more difficult for a woman with implants to do the exams carefully and concisely? In case, I mean, what happens if she, you know, finds something? So she has to get those removed.
Well, let me tell you a story. My mother actually had implants.
Oh.
Okay. She had implants because she was uncomfortable with who she was, because she was lopsided. Well, most of us are. You know, one side is generally larger than the other.
Oh.
And my father said to her, look, if that will make you feel better, then let's just do it. Well, sadly, she was at the mailbox, and somebody came around the corner and hit her with her car and threw her against the mailbox. And it actually ruptured one of the implants, but it was a rupture because back in the day, those were the silicone implants. When she had hers, this was in the 80s.
Okay.
And it was leaking. So that leaked into her body. And so she was in so much pain because she was having this inflammation. And finally, it became very controversial, and the insurance wouldn't cover it because they said they wouldn't take him out because this. So finally, unbeknownst to my father and myself, my mother signed a waiver, and you know, the manufacturer paid for them to come out, but the damage was already done, and nobody knew about it. So from that standpoint, I would tell you, you know, that kind of thing has happened. I know other people that I've met in the course of making this film that they were too big. They were so uncomfortable. They got, you know, those kinds of things. So they either went down a size or they just took them out.
Look at me. I forget now, but I was sitting up here because it reminded me. I was going to say, I learned something last year because, I work out and this and I felt this little thing here behind, because I had little bitty nips, right? They look like BBs. And so I was like, oh my God, I told my husband, I said, I feel a lump, I think. So anyway, I went to have it checked out and I had the, what do you call that? That where they check it.
Oh, mammogram.
Mammogram. I had the mammogram.
Now, isn't that interesting?
Oh.
We talk about that in our film. We have a gentleman in our film who he went to get a mammogram because his grandson headbutted him in the chest, and he went, "Oh, that hurt," and he found the lump. And his wife had breast cancer, and he'd been the caregiver for her, so he thought, I better get this checked out. And so when he went to get the mammogram, the girl goes, she wasn't expecting a man to come in the door, right?
Okay.
And she goes, well, I've never done a mammogram on a man before. And he goes, well, I've never had a mammogram before, so let's get her done, And so people don't realize that men can get breast cancer.
Right. Now, when I went in, I felt so, as a man, so I'm going to just tell y'all guys out there, first of all, I was like, and I'm gay, so I never thought it would affect me until I got there. Because then I walked in, it was in some women's section of the hospital, the women's something, had women stuff everywhere. Right. And I went to the counter and I had to go sit over on one side. There were a number of women, of course, and they're looking at me and I'm looking at them or trying not to look at them, but I couldn't help it. It's just like I'm that kind of person. If somebody's got a mole or something on their face, the more I try not to look.
That's where
I was always that kind of kid. So I was like, are they watching me? So I go in, and I'm gonna tell you though, it didn't really hit me what was going on until they had me flat up against that thing, where they're squeezing it. It was painful. And I was like, imagine if I really had some boobs.
See?
Right?
Yep.
Right. But then while I was holding it and this and the other, it went through me. I said, I just heard it. I felt it move through my spirit about how many people have stood right there wondering, do I have cancer? And then they come and then they make you go sit and wait right then.
Yes.
And don't leave. And I was like, what do I have, rabbititis? Why are you trying to warn me about please don't leave? Because I think a lot of people get scared and don't want to hear that they're coming right out and telling you and they just take off. So anyway, it made me think about how many people's lives have been changed like that because they stand up there, then they go sit in there and they walk out maybe an hour later with their life having been totally changed.
Yes. Now let me tell you what I find oddly fascinating is that in this day and age, there are still women who I'm surprised. Somebody said to me recently, oh, I've never had a mammogram. And I looked at her like, what? Like you're in your 40s. What? Right. Well, I'm kind of afraid. Well, you better get afraid that if you don't go get one, you might be having a different outcome. So, when people say, well, it's breast cancer, it's Susan Komen, this and that. Yeah, we know about it. Yada, yada, yada.
See?
But people get complacent about it.
That's my point. Exactly. Desensitized because they figure, oh, that's nothing nowadays.
Right. But here's the other thing that I'm like, do you think people only get breast cancer in October? So we only talk about it in October.
Thank you.
So
just like the bell ringers for Salvation Army at Christmas, what about now? People still hungry.
They still hungry. They still got lots of stuff going on. And I get it that every month there's some other cause. And so,
So why do you think so many awards? Why is it resonating with so many people?
Because it's real and raw. It's them telling their truth, and it's told from a different point of view. I had one person who I know is a producer director in the industry, and she said after we had a private screening and I invited a couple people from the industry that I kind of wanted their feedback before it got out there. And at first they said, I kept saying, I'm not going to cry. And all I did is cry. But then I realized your film validated me going through a different kind of medical situation with as a caregiver for my husband. And so everybody's going to come away from the film with something different. And I think that's really what it is that it's unique. These people all are representative from different walks of life. You have doctors that thought they had the enough information about how to live a healthy lifestyle that they didn't think they would get it.
Right.
Well, I know I'm a doctor. I know to eat right, to exercise, to do this. So when she got diagnosed, she's like, what? So I think that because there's so many different age ranges and ethnicity backgrounds, people that have been survivors for 40 plus years.
Right.
There's our doctor right there.
Do you mind if I show a little bit of this?
No, not at all.
This has some stuff that's not in
the. You never forget.
In the
I was actually diagnosed 4 months after I got married on Christmas Eve. So it was devastating from that standpoint.
So then I had double mastectomy, lymph node removal the day before my 22nd birthday.
I was already 4 months pregnant with my little girl. The doctor told me that I had a stage 3 breast cancer.
At the age of 36, with triple negative breast cancer, I was given 6 to 12 months.
And that my daughter said, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. It's nothing. Just, call your doctor. It's going to be okay. And it wasn't. And then that's when they said I was stage 4 and that I was incurable and that I wasn't a candidate for chemo or radiation. And they told me they could keep me comfortable.
I don't hear you. Can't hear you.
Sorry, because I was going, so I said, let me mute myself because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to scare anybody. That's why I was muted. A couple of things in there. 6 to 12 months shocked some of us, right? The woman who said, excuse me, incurable. We can only make you comfortable. How does it get that far? People would say nowadays,
well, and here's the thing, she that was her second time around too.
Oh.
And so she'd already been through it once. And so she said, the heck with that. She's going back to her other doctor that she had gone to before. And they said, look, if you hang with me, I think we can kick this thing's butt, and it was a struggle. And she realized that when she was going through getting her last chemo treatment, that's when she decided, I'm never letting another person ever sit doing this alone. And she went on and she became the director now of the organization Hope Held by a Horse, because she went through that equine therapy program, which really brings healing to these women. It's such a powerful experience. I got healing just being there, filming it and listening to what goes on, and the horse comes over and picks you. And I'm thinking, okay, this is crazy. But when I left there that day, I thought, man, if everybody gets just a morsel of what I experienced as the filmmaker there going through the program, then everybody should have that opportunity. And so that's why we featured these different organizations, because they're actually giving back to the individuals as opposed to money they raise. Their programs are directly for the people. Right. It's like the money doesn't go to some big salaries in the sky kind of thing. Right. It goes direct.
Here, I'm just really amazed because Tracy, I knew Tracy coaches with me, so I knew, yes, that Tracy is indeed a breast cancer survivor. She said she'd love to contribute in any way to the next film. But then also, Sherry, currently going through it. Sherry McQueen, who's here every single day, love her immensely. And she says, I agree with Tracy, currently battling stage 4 breast cancer. Anything I can do to help anyone else. It just never seems to get old. It never seems to make you not gasp when you hear, so that's the thing about it. So Darla, earlier I heard you mention that for the people who buy a ticket, how do people actually get to see this movie?
Yeah, so we're having a world premiere streaming event on February 24th on E360 TV. So that's really cool.
Where is that? Oh, yeah, that's us.
Yeah. So we're very excited over that. And so when they buy a ticket, tickets are $19, but 50% of that ticket goes to whichever organization they pick. We're benefiting 4 organizations. We have Hope Held by a Horse, which is the equine therapy group. Okay. We have Personal Ink, which are the tattoos to help people. Because there's an expense associated so that nobody ever has to pay for any of this.
Right.
Sense of Security, they actually... And I've worked with Sense of Security for a long, long time, helping them raise money and do different things. They give money directly to the individual going through treatment, and whether to pay their house payment, their rent, buy groceries. Because sometimes people are like, well, do I buy groceries or do I buy my medicine? Oh. Or I need babysitting while I go get my treatment. So they give money for 6 months. They give grants to these people to cover those kinds of expenses.
Awesome.
And that Sense of Security is a remarkable organization. And then Ray of Hope. Ray of Hope has a new mental health initiative, because one of the things that is lacking when people go through breast cancer or cancer, just any cancer treatment in general, or any medical, I don't care what you're diagnosed with, we do a great job at taking care of the whole person, but not the emotional impact. So a lot of people suffer from PTSD. Every year when it comes time to go get that mammogram, they're having post-traumatic stress because they don't know, am I going to have it back again? Things that trigger them. And so one of the ladies that we feature, she started a program called COPE. And COPE is an educational program being taught at the University of Denver. And we're trying to help that get picked up at other colleges for people that are going into counseling, so that they know how to deal with people going through the whole oncology, psychology thing.
Here's something I wanna put out there. And Sherry, I hope this isn't triggering because you just put it in there that you're battling stage 4, but I want to know, has it changed enough, so much so, where a person who they go in, say today, 10 a.m.'s the appointment, by noon they're on their way home, and someone has sat across and said, well, you have stage 4 breast cancer. Does that necessarily mean what most of us thinks it means when you hear stage 4?
Not necessarily. There are so many different types, and that is the whole point of our film. These people were all told devastating stories. Now, my mother passed away, but that was 18 years ago. And my best friend passed away in 2015, but hers came back. And hers came back with a vengeance and metastasized in other places, probably because, back when she first was treated, we didn't have all the stuff that we have now.
Right.
And yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because breast cancer can still be doesn't have the same end result for everybody. But there's a lot more people surviving, and that's why you have a lot more people with PTSD as a result of going through a breast cancer journey.
Wow. Now, a few years ago, the year before COVID, I think, my husband Brian and I, he's a therapist, and of course you know what I do, and we were on a reality show 8 days, and we were in a house in Mexico with 7 people who all were battling currently some form of cancer, and 2 of them there were dealing with the breast cancer thing. And oh my goodness, it was really different. But my point and my question is this: they were all there in Mexico at a clinic that, of course, they sponsored the reality show. with holistic alternatives. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit before we get out, about 5 minutes left, about how you feel and what you got from the documentary about choices.
Yeah, well, that's
that's
one of the things that we address. And even the surgeon, we asked her, what do you think? Because we have one woman that you showed with the orange shirt and the tattoo. We call her Cannabis Gin. Because she and her husband decided her cancer came back 4 times. And the doctor told her it had gone to the brain and she had surgery and everything else, or up to the head, I should say. I don't know if it was actually in the brain, but he said, look, if this gets to this ventricle, it's going to spread like wildfire. So yeah, I think you should do something outrageous. So they decided to make their own pure CBD, and she's been cancer free after she started using that. And I think she's going on 7 or 8 years now.
That's okay, great. Beautiful.
And I know that doesn't make some people happy, but hey, there are alternatives out there. People massage, Reiki. There's all kinds of alternative things that treat the holistic part of the person,
Right. So is cancer-free, the term cancer-free and the term remission, are those terms synonymous?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm currently cancer-free or I'm currently in remission. But sometimes people will just say, no, I'm cancer-free. I don't have anything. It depends too a lot on the type of cancer. Like the young woman you saw that her boyfriend left her, her fiance left her in the hospital. That poor girl, my God, she fought, and from the time she was 17 years old, she kept telling them something's wrong. And they said, oh, no, we can't. Insurance won't cover it. You'll never have cancer, blah, blah, blah. Well, then she's diagnosed actually the day before her 22nd birthday. And she's still battling it. Like she's had things come back and, and that young woman she's powerful warrior and spokesperson. And she just says, look, I keep telling people, I don't care how old you are, find a way to get them to do a mammogram, because there are a lot of young women that get it.
Yes. You guys on the screen at the bottom, and I've just dropped one of the links inside of the chat for you guys. You'll find it coming in now. But at the bottom of the screen, you see Courageous Warriors Beauty from theashes.com. You can head over there. There's also this one, tinyurl.com/Courageous Warriors Beauty. And then Film It Productions.com. So pretty much anything to do with the film, head over to any one of these, correct, Darla?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. How can people help further what you guys are doing? Is there a place on one of these sites where people can say, I want to be considered if you do a part 2, or I want to donate a few dollars, or I want to buy a few bras for someone? Where would they go?
So basically right now we have it set up for the screening event so people can buy tickets. But if they say, hey, I really resonate with that equine therapy program, they can go in there. When they're buying a ticket, they can give extra money, and that all goes to that organization right now. And we're creating a resource page. So if somebody says, hey, I live in this part of the country, I might be interested in starting that program in my state. That's what we're trying to do, spread some of these programs nationally. That's our goal.
That's wonderful. I am so excited. Can't wait to watch the whole thing, because I haven't, right? And I'm just so thrilled. Thank you so much for coming today and pouring into us and allowing us to ask questions and make statements, and also for the work you do, not just with this documentary, but all the stories you help the world hear. I really love that. I'm kind of jealous.
Thank you.
And, you're welcome back anytime. We look forward to it. Remind everybody again, if you could, Darla, before we leave, the date of the premiere on
Sure, it's February 24th. E360.com. It is 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So then just move it one over for each depending on what area you live in. So.
All right. Well, you know what, you guys, I will get the information. I'll get the banner and stuff, and I'll have it here, and I'll remind you guys every couple days leading up to the premiere so that you can
and buy a ticket for a friend. If you know someone that's going through it, give it as a gift. Pay it forward.
Great point. Thank you so much, Darla.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, anytime. The turnstile invitation, which means you can come in anytime you'd like. And that means you guys have that same invitation extended to you. You can cash in on that tomorrow morning, if you so choose, at 8 a.m. Central, where tomorrow my guest will be Dr. Skip Mondragon. He's been here before. He's a retired military officer, medical doctor, and he just completed his very first TEDx talk. We're going to talk about how that has impacted his life and what's next for Dr. Skip. So that's tomorrow. Get out today and do what we do. Remember, if you want to change the world, if you want to step inside that golden circle known as purpose/legacy, easy. All you have to do is everything you think, speak, or do, mean it. The moment you mean it, it becomes meaningful to someone or something somewhere in the universe. Take that with you. I'll see you tomorrow. Be the blessing and receive the blessing. Thank you again, Darla. God bless.
You.
See you soon. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine.